But, sir,
Yeah.
having answered some of our questions, we want to, because we know from your CV that you are an educationist. And we must point out this, that in umuowa today, because of this attitude of traveling to overseas, trying to make money at by all means, at all costs, would it be wrong for somebody to say that education is dwindling in umuowa?
That education is going downhill in umuowa is not just an overstatement. It is true. But people would argue it's not only umuowa, it's all over the state, all over the country. But I don't believe in living like the Joneses. I don't believe in it. I will live like myself. The Joneses can be anything anywhere. But I will live and behave like myself. Education here, my intention of coming back here, in fact, if I had had my way, I would have taught all my life in my own native home. But it wasn't possible. But I managed to wriggle myself out from other communities. Because of the way I treated children elsewhere, those in authority in the education ministry would always want me in the school in their village. And since they don't come from townships, they come from little villages, some more little than umuowa. So I spent most of my headship as a school principal in little villages. But if you dig deep into it, you will find out that either the commissioner or the secretary, executive secretary of the board, I mean the education board now, or something, owned the places where I was principal. Even when I came back to Uru here, Amoma, the executive secretary then was somebody from around there. So I had always seen this problem everywhere. Education sinking and sinking and sinking. So it's not an overstatement that education in umuowa is also sinking, like they say, other schools elsewhere. It's not an overstatement at all. It is true.
Now, in the same education, on the issue of education, how do we now appraise the things responsible for the dwindling passion towards education in umuowa? What do you think that is contributing, or the things contributing to the fall of education in umuowa?
Yeah. Societal values. Put our values in quotation mark. People don't place too many values now on this paper education that you read a master's degree. For the children, it did not mean anything. Or it doesn't mean anything to them. What means something to children, and that their parents are worse. Because it's a big mistake for any parent to say, you see your mates, see what they are doing. And if that boy or girl looks back and then finds out that these mess their parents are comparing them with made their money by hook or crook, then they will think that the biggest favor they will do their parents is to go and make that money, it doesn't matter how. And the quickest way to make money is to get into some of these crooked ways of making money. So that's what I think is the main reason why children don't want to bend down and read. And then government on its own part, or institutions, industries and all that, it's only now that they're beginning to look at what you can do with your hands, not necessarily what specifically you're parading. Because there was a time if you didn't make a good degree, you don't get a good job. But today people are realizing that those who have the best certificates are not necessarily those that perform best when they get into industries and other institutions. So the whole thing is that the emphasis on certificates and good grades and all that is no longer there. What is important now is how much money are you able to make in the shortest possible time. And children see it as the way out. And then if they must get a certificate, then they'll get it at all costs. And getting a certificate at all costs means putting everything you have into cheating in the exam. And if you're a principal or a teacher and you're not helping them to cheat, then for now your life is at stake. Because I have met my former students in many places. Some say, sir, you were really good to us because you wanted us to do the right path and make a successful living without bloodshed, without spoiling our faith in God. But if you today were in the system, you may not last in it. You could be killed. That's what my students said to me. You could be killed. Because if I got into the exam hall in my school, you've got to keep quiet. That is, supervisors look at my school as the mission school. They don't even try to come for invigilation in my school. Only those who can stand me would go to pick up the packets for my school. But it didn't worry me. Somebody has to come anyway at the end. So the down plunge or the nosedive plunge of education in this system is caused primarily by our parents, the parents of the children that go to school. Because if a parent would insist that his child studies and wouldn't taunt him when his mates are making money by any means, and wouldn't start taunting that child, look at you, look at your mates, that comparison spoiled everything, and they were caused by our parents. That's my own feeling.
Okay. I wouldn't want to make umuowa community as a danger species on this issue, because education, the fall of education in umuowa is the same with the generality of fall of education in our country, Nigeria. The editor has said it all. That is because of our placement on certain values. The values we parade as norms now in our society, they are responsible for the downfall of education in Nigeria, not only in umuowa. However, we believe that a total society can be restructured starting from families. We want to use this opportunity to still find a way of grooming education back as it used to be in umuowa. But Elder, at this point, may you tell us some of the things that we can do to bring back our passion for education in umuowa?
There was an experiment I tried while I was in the field Because you would go to a school as a new principal and you tell your teachers, you must go to the classroom, you must do this, you must supervise their learning in the classroom, their activities outside the classroom, and so on and so forth. And then the exams must be thoroughly supervised. When you finish talking, a brave teacher will say, "Excuse me, sir, do you think that you, with all these things you are saying, with all these, you must do this, you must do the other, do you think that will change Nigeria?" I would quietly tell them, I don't believe in living like the Joneses. My own children traveled with me to every school where I went. I carried them all along with me. Not that I couldn't afford to send them to maybe some other, there are some superior schools. But since if you get to the local schools, you find very seasoned teachers there. But the unfortunate thing is, the teachers don't believe that their little effort there will make all the change in Nigeria. So therefore, why not remain along with every other person and then end up how every other person ends up. So what I think we can do is to try this little experiment I tried in some of the schools I went to. I encourage my teachers to bring their own children elsewhere into this one where you are teaching. And I told them, most of you are examiners in WAEC. So most of you know what WAEC wants for a child to pass. Why not bring those children of yours into this place? Let us put our efforts together and teach them along with the children of others. It will make a lot of change if we stay here long enough. Many of them heeded this advice and withdrew their children from places and brought them there. My own children were there too, and we taught them. And I didn't know what results we were getting until I have left that place. And when I left, some of them continued keeping their children there and teaching their children along with others. Today, I would come back and they would tell me, somebody came in here, he said he was one of their teachers somewhere. And he came with his wife. They bought you these drinks. And they said they want to thank you for advising them properly. That their children all have made it. Just because they were properly supervised, they were properly taught, and then they weren't taught to depend on outside help when they went to the universities and when they went to some other places. That thing they got here, they carried forward. But I know one of my students there, he didn't live too long ago. He's a PhD holder now. That's the one I know because I visited them. And the father told me, you know, that's my child has made his PhD. So, if like in those days, Naiko Kwando had to come back home to become headmaster for umuowa. And he attracted other umuowa teachers to St. Mary's here. Then St. Mary's. And they taught in umuowa. In fact, there was a time the population of teachers in umuowa were primarily umuowa indigenes. And sympathizers of umuowa, maybe those whose mothers were natives, but have Ndinkume, or those whose were some link with umuowa, they had to come and clustered there as a Mary's, and made a name for themselves and helped our children. If we can change this teaching thing to go to your village and start development from there, I think it will make all the difference. Because if you ask them to cluster in a school somewhere, nobody would want to do it. But
Yeah.
yes,
Yeah, we have this advice is highly fundamental, even at national level. The other is saying, in summary, that if we cultivate the habit of training our children internally within the country, the government, whether state or federal, will now see the importance of investing in education because their children are there. But we are in a world now where Nigerians, even with pride, they tell you that all their children are United States. They are in UK studying and all that. And when you have the commissioners, you have the ministers, you have the senators, you have members of House of Assembly, national and state houses of assembly, they have their children outside the country. Why must they deliberate or see need to invest in education? I think this advice is worthwhile, and when we experiment it, definitely all the educational systems at primary level, secondary level to tertiary level will witness a revolution.